and welcome to the video. Today we will be exploring Blender and some simple modeling and viewport navigation tools you can use. Okay, so I've opened up Blender and just selected the general file, which gives you this. So, to navigate the viewport, a mouse is recommended. It makes it much easier with a mouse. But if you have a touchpad, then it will be double tap and hold to rotate your view. If you have a mouse, it will be middle mouse button and hold to rotate your view. With a touchpad, it is double tap and hold so go into rotate, but then hold shift and you can pan. With a mouse, it is middle mouse button plus shift. Okay, so that's how you navigate the viewport. You can do some laps of the viewport. The only problem is you'll never end your laps because you can't see the end. You could just go around like this and navigate back to your default cube, like so. Oh yeah, scroll wheel on mouse to zoom in, and just the simple normal 2 fingers and out on a touchpad to zoom in. So yeah, you can just go around, get some practice in. But yeah. Alright, so you might be wondering, if you're a complete beginner, what all of this stuff is in the viewport that you're given. So you got here, you got your light, you got your camera, and you have got your default cube. So your camera is basically what you'll see from. If you click this little camera icon in the bottom, in the right, it'll bring you into the camera view. You can see what the camera's seeing. And the light is well, it's a light, so cast some light on your scene that the camera can pick up and then render it. And then the default cube, it's a cube, and it's default. Okay. You're not doing anything except navigating the viewport up to this point, so you might want to do something else. And so if you click on, if we go into up the top right hand corner, you can see a bunch of these options here. So these four, this one, this one, this one, and this one, these are your shading types. So currently you're standardly in viewport shading with the solid. And you could go into wireframe, which, there we go. It just shows the edges of objects. You can go into material preview, which is a preview of your materials. Wait for it to load. There we go. And currently the default cube has no material, so the material preview is not interesting. And rendered view is what it will look like in the render. So as you can see, it doesn't look that interesting because you don't even have like a plane that the light could cast shadows on. So let's add a plane, I guess. So press Shift A on your keyboard and it will bring up this menu. You can also get it from here. Sorry, add, yeah. But we'll be using Shift A. And you might be wondering why I have you wouldn't have all of these options. Because I have a bunch of add-ons. But I'll talk about that in a different video. So we want to add a plane so it can cast shadows. And right now it'll be inside your cube because that's where your origin point is. It's like that. The origin point is like that little three lines that have a weird dash line in the middle. Yeah, that's the origin point. Anyway, so we want to make this plane bigger. So to do that, we can press the S key on our keyboard, and you can see up in this top right hand corner, top left hand, sorry, you can see the scale dimensions. But if you move your mouse, you can see it's scaling, and that's what we want. So let's make it some bigger, maybe. And you can also type in your keyboard for the scale. For example, 10, and then it'll snap it to exactly 10. And you could also hold. Wait. Sorry, Control Z to undo. You can also hold Control, and it will snap it to the dimensions. You see it's moving a little bit jankily because it's snapping to the little exact dimensions, and instead of going 4 point blah 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 blah, it's going in 0.1 of a meter. A meter is Blender's default dimensions. So yeah, let's scale it up. And you can also specify dimensions. For example, you can hit the X key and it will scale it only on the X. You can hit the Y key and it will only scale it on the Y. You can hit the Z key and that won't do anything because it's a plane, but it would be scaling it only along the Z. Yeah, that's everything I can think of. But we want to scale it to maybe about 10. And then we want to bring it down because it's currently in the middle of our cube. So that brings us to our next keyboard shortcut, G for grab. And currently it's just in every direction, so you can move it around and estimate where your cursor would be in 3D space and bring it to there. But we only want to move it up and down. So we could move it only on the Z axis by pressing Z. And then we can move it there. But we don't want like a bunch of decimal points on our movement, so we can hold Control and that'll snap it to meters. So yeah, we want 1 meter because that looks about right for our cube. And yeah, now we have it sounding on a surface in rendered view. In default view, it just looks pretty bland because it's not actually rendering it, it's just sort of making an approximation of what it would look like with just grey material. But yeah, we have it rendered in this view. We got the shadow and everything. So maybe you want the light a little bit stronger. So you go into light, you go into this tab, which has the little light bulb on it. By the way, this section here, this bit, is called the properties window, I believe. Let me just check that. Yeah, properties. And in the light tab of the properties window, you can see the color of the light. We could change that to like a blue, and it would cast blue light. But I'm just going to keep it at white, and we can right click on that keyframe and we can click the reset to default value, which has a keyframe of backspace, but that's not working for some reason, so I'm just going to use the click on it. And we can bring the power up, but it doesn't do it in noticeable dimensions, so we can just type in like 6,000 watts, and then you can definitely see the difference, or like 10 watts and you'll barely be able to see anything. Yeah, it just looks great. I'm probably going to put it at 2,000. Yeah, that's pretty good. Most of the other values you probably won't need to mess around with that much. A radius will just make the shadows a little bit less harsh. It's sort of like making the light bigger. Yeah, there you go. See, the shadows are really dispersed right now. But we're going to leave that at the default value again. So right click default, reset to default value. And then you can untick shadow, which is what it says. Enables and disables the shadow. Bye guys, like and subscribe. That would be highly appreciated. Bye.